right. It looks kind of, there we go. Okay, so here we are in our second still life setting. Last week we did a couple of pumpkins. This week we're going to do a bowl full of apples and an apple kind of next to the bowl. I made it kind of easy for you guys a little bit. And the bowl, as you can see, is white, right? Except that, of course, it's not white all the way across, right? It's shadowed in some areas and darker in other areas. If you remember, if Nancy just can anybody tell what direction the light's coming from?
From the left?
Yeah, from the top left, right? How can you tell?
Shadows are on the right.
Yeah, the shadows are going this way. Also, there's a nice blick right here.
Oh, yeah.
Blick is the Russian word for the white highlight. And I just think it's such a fabulous word. I often use it. And then Nancy, notice what I was talking about with your bowl. Light on this side, dark on that side. Interesting, except around the top edge, right? And although there's a little bit more shadow here, it is lighter here. It's like I would say this is like a 1. This is like a 3, 1, 1, maybe 2. And then about to here, it starts to get darker. That's also true with your apples. Even though these are colored, right, of course, they still, I wish I could show you how it looks in black and white, but this is one of the challenges of drawing from colors. We start to learn that, right? So, so as usual, let me pull up oh, shoot. Here, hang on. I apologize. I'm going to need to get back into the meeting with my tablet. This might take a minute. Come on. Okay, there we go. Join a meeting. Sorry, I need to rejoin with the tablet. But what is your thoughts on what should happen first? As I'm getting my tablet back online, what is everybody thinking? It's the first thing to do here. And if you don't know, that's fine, but guess.
Well, find the width of or the height of something to use as your measure.
Yeah. What do you think that? Good job. Very
It
good
almost
job.
seems like the bowl is almost as wide as it at its widest point as the bowl and the apple are tall. So I would probably use the bowl, the widest part of the bowl.
Or you could just do the apple in the front.
Oh,
right? Because that's a more, the bowl can be, although it's not a bad way of thinking about it here. Hold on. Let me stick this on here. But great, but I love the thinking. That is absolutely the kind of right analytical thinking for doing this. What I would say, and here I'm going to sketch this. Well, we'll start by measuring, right? So if you remember correctly, oh, right, I need to pop in here very quickly. Do you guys need me to model measuring for you?
Yes, please.
You need to stand. I'm not quite sure. What?
Is it okay to sit?
Not really. Well, I mean, you can, well, here's the thing. Yes, it's okay to sit. You need to be able, you can sit. And in fact, you should sit. Sorry, if you're going to be sitting to draw, you should go to where you're going to be drawing, because if you stand, it changes the measurement, right? But what you do need to do is be able to get far enough away so that you can hold your arm out. So I'm going to flip away from the thing for a second so you can see me, right? I need to be able to hold my arm out front. It needs to be straight. None of this. And none of this as I'm measuring, right? Because my arm needs to be in one plane. If I pull it this way or that way, while I'm measuring, I change it. So actually, great question, Bettina. Sit, but get far enough away that you can measure. So let me put this, and you'll look at the computer screen, right? So it should be fairly, I'll do the same thing. And it's a little tricky because my computer screen is right in front of the
So-
There we go.
Leah, I have a question about this method. I get what you've just described.
Mhm.
When I'm then transferring my measure to paper, I'm no longer using that extended arm perspective. I'm just knowing what my measure is. and using
Yes.
it on the paper. Okay.
A+ student, A+, Nancy. Yes, that's exactly right. Then it doesn't matter, right? You can come to your paper. So what I would do, I think the easiest thing is to measure the top and bottom of the apple.
Would you include the stem?
I would not include the stem. We'll put that in later. Good question. God, you guys are like on fire today. Top and bottom of the apple, excluding the stem, and then just go up. And I think what you'll see is that the top of the still life from the bottom of the apple in front is exactly 2 apples high. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Close.
2 apples high. So Nancy, the only sort of, by the way, fabulous like work today. It's really, I can see it going in. The reason we wouldn't start with the vertical, horizontal, right, is that we almost always start with the vertical distance.
Okay.
It's a little bit easier to establish the vertical distance, less complex, right? Because if you wanted to establish the width of the bowl, then you'd have to start figuring out where the height was. Whereas if I start with that apple in the front, I know the top and the bottom pretty quickly. So does everybody see that? All right, so now I'm going to go
I have
to,
a question.
Okay.
So when you say it's two apples high, where is your bottom point?
the
on
bottom of the apple, which is the bottom of the still life.
The front one.
So you
right?
draw that in your mind all the way under the bowl.
Right, because it goes lower than the bowl. I'm trying to find the vertical height of the still life from top to bottom. I know what you're having problems with, Bettina. You're still thinking of this apple as separate from the rest of the still life. This apple is I'm thinking about the whole still life, everything in it. If this helps, I'll move it closer so you can see it's really attached. This is one big super object. So this is that thing that happens where when we start to draw, we stop thinking about things as separate subjects and we start breaking them apart into different objects. So this is the lowest point of the still life. Can you see that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So, and then that's the highest point. So we start with the apple because we know that's the lowest point of the still life. And then we just go up to C. And really, even when I move that apple, didn't really change. Yeah, it's still it's a touch more than 2. So now watch this. Now I'm going to come over here. Just watch me for a minute, and then I'm going to have you do it. I go to Nancy drawing here. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my own dimensions over here. So now I know I can make any decision I want. I kind of like make this decision. All right, here's the bottom of my still life. It's going to be right there. And here's the top of my apple. This is how big I want my apple to be. I didn't have to, I'm not measuring that. I'm just making that decision. And now I know proportionally that if I go up 1, this is how tall my still life will be. Right? And this is where it ends at the bottom. Because even though the measurements are different, the proportions are the same. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Once you get into this way of thinking, it's actually easier. You will wonder how anybody else tries to do it any other way. All the rest of, everybody else is like, well, I got a sketch in the bowl and then I'll put the apples in it and blah, blah, you know what I mean? And it's confusing. This is very logical. And just so you can see it, I randomly decided, well, I didn't randomly decide. I looked at my drawing and I thought, I want that drawing to take up most of the paper. So I'm going to start this sort of towards the bottom. And then here's the top of my apple in the front minus the stem. I know if I go up one more apple, that's where the top of my still life is at the highest point. And it doesn't matter what these numbers are. That's the thing that's kind of a trip. It doesn't matter. And so Nancy, what you were saying, you can go big, you can go small, right? You can go smaller, you can go bigger. I like to go at least big enough so that I have room to kind of start sketching. And this is really so this kind of encompasses the whole thing. Now we don't have the width yet, but we do know we have the height. So I know that my still life goes no lower than the bottom of this apple. And the other thing I know is that the apple in front is the lowest part of my still life, right? I know that because I've looked at it and determined that. So my bowl doesn't sink down below here. My bowl stays somewhere up here. I start to get these parameters, these relationships to where things are. That is what drawing really is. It's relationship building. And Nancy, can you see how it's easier to do this than to try to establish this to this? We will use that measurement that you suggested, but later, right? Once we've kind of established how high the bowl is and where that middle line can go in relation to the apple.
Is that mainly because it's better to use a smaller part of it, or is there something inherent?
It's literally verticals are easier to get.
I'll just
It's
play with
easy.
that. I don't get it yet, but I can just kind of sit with that.
Yeah, sit with that idea. It's easier to get the top and the bottom distance.
Okay.
And then use that to measure everything else. Because if you try to establish this distance before you'd establish this one, you don't know where to put this horizontal. You don't know where to put it.
I always have trouble knowing where to put my horizontal.
Well, that's because you really need to think about it in relation to the vertical. You decide your vertical first. So here I know my apple, even kind of simply, right? I'll sketch it in here, right? Just in this very simple way. My apple is here, right? And I know I can see that my bowl kind of comes slightly above the apple, right? Because I can see that. I've established my apple is here. And then I know that my tallest apple doesn't go any, maybe it pops up just a tiny bit over apple 2. I know that my top apple is kind of here. Because I can see that. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I'm way more comfortable doing what you're doing now than actually trying to just mark a vertical across somewhere.
Well, you're going to do both those things. You're just going to measure them. And I mean, don't fight it so much, Bettina. It's not that different. I guess I'm just showing you the block-ins of where things go. Yes. I mean, if you want to, you can kind of sketch in these little circles. Here, let me even pop that up so you can see that a little bit better, because I don't know. Wait, actually, let me take a picture of it so you can see. But that's the thinking process, right? Is that once I establish this and I use this, then I always know that this measurement is correct. Because I've established the vertical distance. And then I can use this to check things like, oh, how wide is the bowl? From, like, say, the edge of the apple. I can check it in a couple of ways. And actually, this is a good, here. So let me take a picture of this so you guys can just see it. I love that owl, by the way, the coffee art. So this is the thinking, right? Apple, apple. And then once I establish this, I can establish other things. But I'm not like drawing them in strongly yet because I haven't, you know, done my measurements, but that's what's happening. Okay.
It's not intentional that the apple goes above the top, is it?
It is intentional because when I noticed, when I did my check, you do your check too and see, I moved the apple a little bit. Oh, maybe not. It slightly comes above, in my measurement, I don't know if I'm wrong on this. It looked, because I moved the apple a little bit closer to the bowl. It looks like I moved it down just a smidge, so it looks to me like the second apple, this apple up here comes up a little bit over the 2 apple line. That is intentional. So as you're starting to sketch, this is the idea. Go ahead and like do the sketch. Please don't do these lines hard. Make them very light. But go ahead and start like this. I also don't know I have this in the right place yet, right? This is not necessarily in the right place. So I'm just sketching it to kind of show you where things generally are. I sent you guys a picture. So try doing that, set it over. I don't know if the thinking on this is, it's really until once the thinking doing clicks in, you'll be like, ah, that makes so much sense. It's a very elegant solution. And here, I'll pop this back up. Let me remove this so you can see the still life better. Please don't think though that this apple that I've sketched in on the top is in the right place, because I don't know that it is yet. And I'm going to grab just a smidge more coffee while you guys do that and send it in.
Objects.
Let's see. Sent theirs in.
Are you wanting us to sketch in all the shapes of like where the bowl hits and stuff? or-
Somebody said, yeah, I want you to kind of sketch where you think they are,
Okay.
but we'll be correcting those. So don't get too caught up in it. Yeah, Bettina, that looks right, pretty much. Yep. Looks good. Somebody said it was helpful, so go ahead and do it if you think it's helpful. I don't know how helpful it is because I know I'm going to move things around, but if you think it's helpful, do it. Trying to show where the things are, top and bottom. Be right back. All right. And let's see. Francesca, your still life is too short. If you look at your measurements, you'll see that this second height is not as tall as the first height. Oh, hold on. I'll show you what I mean. Double check your vertical distance. Because this does not look the same. This is not, oh yeah, you measured it. Oh, I see here. Hold on. Yeah, even so, it's not right. This distance up here, Francesca, you have as shorter than this distance down here. So
Okay.
recheck that.
Okay.
Yep. And don't put your stem in because that's confusing right now. We're not working
Okay.
with the stem. That's going to confuse you of where the top and the bottom of your apple are. All right.
Leah, when I look at it, the second apple is not, it is a little bit more than.
That's what I said.
Oh,
That's why it pops up.
okay.
That's what happened when I moved it closer. I moved it down a little bit. Right? Yeah, that's what's going on here. This is why it's hard to put words on things, right? It's hard to put words on the process that's happening. The words get in the way. Notice how hard it is to describe the process of what's going on. And notice that the harder you think about it, sometimes the worse it gets. Let's see. Good, Marcy. Great. Marcy, I sense you're starting to understand the, I don't want to say the mathematical precision of this because it's not math, but it's the visual spatial. I've noticed in the last couple drawings, you're really starting to understand how the logic of this measurement system. Am I right on that? Oops.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, yes, right, because now there's two of you, right? We can't have both of you on the thing. We have that funny echo. Okay, one more second. Okay. Just so that you know, we might be moving that top apple. We haven't really decided exactly where it is yet. Our next job here is to decide the width of the bowl from the widest part, because now we generally know where to put it, right? We know where to put, by looking, we know where to put the top of the bowl. Where is my, here, hold on, let me pop this down. I'm going to pop this up for a second so you can see this. You know where to put the top of the bowl, right? Which is just slightly above and to the left of this apple, right? We see this happening. And the bottom of the bowl, can we measure? Do you guys have an idea? Let me hold it, push this up. Where do we put the bottom bowl in relation to this apple?
I thought it was about a third of the height of the apple.
Let's see if you're right. You are right. You mean from the bottom, the lip closest to us?
So that if I think of the height of the apple extending to the left, about a third of the way up the apple height is where I put the bottom of the bowl.
I think that's about right. I think you're right. And when I say, oh yeah, right, because it's right. That's great. When I was asking for measurements, I was just saying as you were measuring your third up, did you mean from the top of the bowl back here? Here, hold on. I'll pop this up again. You mean from the lip that's closest to us, the bottom lip, the one that's curving towards us, not the top of the bowl.
Right. I mean,
This is the bottom lip. That's the top, right? This is the top of the bowl. That's the bottom.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the bottom of the bowl is where the bowl hits the
Yes,
table.
but I know, but when you're measuring a third up, oh, I see. You're talking about a third up from the apple. I'm automatically thinking, well, anyway, no, yes, we're talking about the same thing, basically. Okay. You
We
got it.
are.
You got it. Yep, basically. All right, so I know that about a third, I see, you're like that. You just kept with the apple. That's just fine. So the bottom of my bowl is here. The top of my bowl is here. Now, if I want to double check that, I can kind of check it at various points, right? So I can come over to where the center of the bowl is here. And I can check this measurement against my apple, my original apple. So if I check it against my original apple, it should be a little less, the apple should be a little bit taller than my bowl from top to bottom in the center. I'll show you what I mean by that. If I come over here and I measure this, this should be a little bit higher. This is my apple measurement. The apple measurement should be just a little bit higher than the front lip of the bowl from here to here, and that's true. Okay, that's good. And then the other thing I can do is I can check the width of this line, this front bowl, to my apple height. Not my width of my apple, because I haven't really checked the width of the apple, but I can check it to the height of the apple. So let me remove the spotlight. How many apples height, if you take how many apples, and then I usually like, so I usually like to, here, I'll show you. I usually like to grab my vertical distance here, because I know this is correct, and then I'll flip it on the side to measure how many apples. Right, so you start like this, keeping your arms straight. And then you go like this to measure how wide the bowl is using your vertical distance. So if you were to do that, I'm checking here, top to bottom. Anybody have an idea of how wide the bowl is? How many apples? Tall, I should say, the bowl is wide.
Where in the bowl are we supposed to measure across?
From the start to the end, from the right side to the left side. Across the widest point, which is the middle of the mouth of the bowl. We're measuring this line.
Is it like 1.5?
I think it's a little more than that.
Nearly
Check again.
two. Yeah, it seems
It's nearly
two.
two. Yeah, nearly two. Excellent. From there to the, yeah, a little bit less than two. Good job. Does anybody see anything different?
Sorry, can
Marcy, you could just talk on to Nancy's. Take your headphones out and then you can just talk on to Nancy's.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to check one thing. When you say two apples, two
Hi.
apple heights,
Yes.
is that the width of the bowl or the entire still life?
The width of the bowl. Great question. Yes, the width of the bowl. The width of the bowl. And it's a little less than two apple heights. But mostly, but it's almost there. Nice, Osiris, that's lovely. All right, give me 1 second, guys. I'm grabbing my coffee. So now I come back here. Over here, and I know, and in fact, I'm going to pop up here because it's near, I'm going to remove this for a second so you can really see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to come over here, measure my height of my apple. I know that my apple starts about, I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure that my bowl starts about here. And then I'm going to come over here, right? And mark one apple. And over here, now this is two apples. So I'm probably gonna bring my bowl in. That's the start and finish of my bowl. So Osiris, you'll see that your bowl is a little bit narrow. It needs to be wider. So see how I did that? That's how I determined height.
Do you mean
Apple
narrow?
one. Wider here.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
wider here. It's too narrow. I mean, it looks nice, but it's not, that's this bowl that's in front of us, right? A lot of people who teach themselves how to draw and can draw better than most other people, which is, there's very few people, can get away with things like that because it looks great and nobody knows the difference, right? But if you're really trying to respect the subjects that are in front of you, you're trying to get their actual measurements. Now I can see, by the way, as I do this, I'm going to put the still life back up. Where is my apple? That apple in the center. I'm going to erase this line because I'm not feeling great about where I've placed this apple so far. I don't think I have it in the right place. This is why I don't generally do this that early in the process. I did it to visually show you what I was thinking, but it doesn't help when you don't know where things are. Right, and then I can kind of sketch the shape of the outer shape of the bowl. I'm going to be playing with this a little bit. So this is where I'd like to see you right now, here. Let me send a picture over so you have it. I'm trying to. I have a new holder coming in, which I hope will make things easier. Let's see. Here we go. This is where I'd like you to be. Remember, I'm being a bit of I don't want to say perfectionist. I'm being firm on the measurements because this is what you guys need to know to be able to draw everything. So even though it feels like you can kind of guess where things are, and maybe in this subject, you can even get away with making it look nice. What you really are learning in a simplified way is how to structure everything.
Leah, I have a request that I don't know if it fits for other people, but can you pin the subject? Because I'm having a hard time measuring the shapes.
Oh, no, I'll just remove my spotlight. Yes, I did. Yes.
Whatever the
Yeah,
term
that's
is.
fine. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, sorry. Sometimes I'm like, do I need to point at the bull? I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, it's deeper. That's fine.
And I'm just kind of double checking. Yep. Once it clicks, it will really click for you. And quite frankly, nobody ever explained this to me. So it took me longer to understand it. So if you're, maybe I'm using the right words, maybe I'm not, I don't really know. It'll click when it clicks. There you go, Francesca. One, two. Yep, that looks pretty good. Francesca, look at the shape of the bowl. The outer shape of the bowl. It's not going straight
Yeah.
down, it's angling.
Yeah. You're right.
And then it angles again. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a big angle line.
Okay.
Bank, bank.
It's like a pentagon, more or less, no?
I mean, it's like an angle line. I'm gonna pop it up just to show you what I mean. It's a wide angle. Angle in, angle down,
Okay.
right? It's
Yeah.
not, we might round it a little bit later, but really what we're trying to do is get the directions. When you try to curve a line, that's when one gets into trouble. So Bettina,
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the same thing too. Bettina, your bowl needs to, oh, no, it's good. Here, hold on. I'm gonna tell you the same thing too about the shape of your bowl. Let me double check it. Yep, that looks good. Look at the shape of your bowl. So once again, I'm gonna send a picture of this across the thread so you guys can see the shape of the bowl. Because you're trying to draw a curved line and you've missed some significant plane changes. In fact, it's probably up like this more. I don't even have it quite right. Here we go. Yeah, Marcy, I would get rid of this apple that's on the top because it's not in the right spot yet.
Okay.
But that looks good. Good job on your angling here.
Yeah, it took me a couple tries.
Yeah. And Nancy, I would also get rid of your top apple because we don't have it identified, but let's see, 1, 2. I'm not exactly sure you have this top line in the right place, Nancy, but we'll get there. In the meantime, erase your top apple because our next job is going to be to kind of place those.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bettina, I believe it was you who said it's easier to put the apples up there. This is why we don't do it, because when we guess, we're not right. And then we get stuck, attaching to that shape. Mine is like totally in the wrong place. This is generally why we don't do that at the beginning until we're sure of kind of where things are. Mentally, it helps to know what's happening here, but to put it in too soon often is a recipe for disaster. It sure was with my drawing this morning. It was definitely not in the right place. So I wanted to remove that before I got too caught up in it. Okay. And then our next step is to figure out, I think I want to use my apple, the vertical distance of my front apple, to see how high up the still life goes. It really is basically one apple. Yep. Tall. And then in terms of locating the rest of our apples, like where they are, I'm going to use my vertical distance of my first apple and measure it. Let me show you what I'm going to do so you can see it here. I'm going to show you what I can do. I'm going to use this distance to figure out where my other apples start and finish. So what's happening at this one apple point here. And what I can see when I do that, I'm going to remove this, is that this top apple here, oh, that's convenient, that if you do one apple wide, if you take the vertical distance here and you check it against here, you'll see that this is like the space between these two apples. That's where that line is. Does everybody get that?
Mhm.
So I'm measuring the vertical distance of the apple, going to the edge of the bowl, the right edge of the bowl, holding my vertical distance horizontally. And I can see that this is where this line basically rolls. So that's super helpful to me. I can come up to my drawing now. Do you see how I'm constantly returning to the vertical apple to use as my measurement? I'm constantly returning to that. And now I know kind of there is that big apple in the front. And then that helps me place this other apple that's in the front and the bottom. And now I know, wait, it's more like that. And now I know where to put my big apple, because my big apple kind of sits between them. Right? Up like that. So that's how I start to sketch in where these things actually are.
I sent you my sketch.
Okay. Are you doing apples?
No.
Okay. Well, we were going to do this next week, Diana, and paint it. Well, nah, that's not true. We've got it a couple weeks from now. Do we have permission to do that in a couple of weeks if Friday wants to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cute. So I'll remove this, but I'll take a picture of it so you guys can see it as you start to make those decisions yourself. So before I get fancy with any of my apples, I'm locating where they are. And I'm always kind of returning to this vertical distance of that apple in the front. He's very cute. Are you just mixing red and yellow for that kind of funky orange? I like it. Diana, what colors are you mixing for the orange?
I'm using white, blue, burnt sienna, burnt umber,
Nice.
um,
And a little vermilion?
Yeah.
I thought so. Very nice.
Right. that it's just a sketch, so.
Nice bricky color. I know, I was just looking at it, trying to figure out what colors you use, because
Yeah, so
All right, so now I want you guys to get to this point of placing the apples. Do your best, and I'll help you kind of move things around. There's a little like, let's see. Yep, Nancy, good. Good. Excellent, you guys. See how much easier that is? Good job. So yeah, Bettina, you're figuring it out, and I see you because I can see you got it in the shape here. I'm going to pop up here. There's this fantastic little kind of dark shadow this dark shadow shape, which kind of shapes out how the apples kind of interact with
guys.
each other. Hi, Sandra.
hey,
Sorry.
Sandra,
I'm late. I was doing, was my last day. to
Sandra.
do
I
plant
thought you
bulbs.
woke up when I sent you the cat.
I know, I had to plant bulbs because tomorrow is going to be really cold. This is the last warm day and I hadn't done it. And I'm working this afternoon, so I had to do it this
Are
morning.
you always working on Saturdays, or did you?
No, but
volunteer?
for some reason, committed to work a lot this October. I don't know why. Well, I know why. It's because if I work a Saturday and then if I work a Sunday and then 2 weeks later of a Saturday, I get a 4-day weekend in the middle.
Nice.
So I've been giving myself a few of these. I was worried about getting tired. So that's why.
Got it. All right, you guys. And then you can kind of add in the kind of top of the bowl. So see, Nancy and Marcy, this is why I don't have that top of that bowl in quite yet. I want to get the pieces in and then build around it. I'm just going to darken this because it's this lovely dark shadow between all the things. And now we're ready to start drawing, right? All the details. There's a cool kind of cast shadow. Wait, that's not right. I put it down too low. There's this cool kind of cast shadow. Now we can start marking out the shadow. So you get your apples in. Everybody, so far, everybody looks like they've kind of got them in the right places. Now we can start having fun. With the sketch. I'm gonna bring up my bowl a little bit. I'm going to notice that where it sits on the table, there's a kind of neat cast shadow here. And then of course, there's this really cool little cast shadow here. By the way, also look at how this wood like platform I've got, look at what that's doing. You totally don't have to draw that, but if you wanted to, you could, right? It's going back, right? And up. It's got that very exaggerated twist up like this because perspective wise, it's going towards a single vanishing point, but you don't have to. You absolutely up. And of course, I have it in the wrong place too because I wasn't paying attention. So now you can start sketching in the darks and the lights. You can start sketching in kind of the dark and light shapes of the apples. Right, there's a kind of blick here. I'm going to do a little bit of this and then I'll put this back up, Nancy, so you guys can see it. Right, there's this kind of little right. The red is obviously a little darker than the sort of green parts, but and then also do not forget what's happening with the bowl. So the bowl is kind of darker on the inside here. It's lighter here. And then it starts to get darker. And then
And it looks like
there's
some ridges or something around the side.
I wouldn't get
like a ridge.
obsessed. You can get that in if you want to. I wouldn't worry about that so much. Worry about like the lighting first.
Okay.
Yes, there's ridges, but I wouldn't, I mean, you can get those in if you want to.
No,
They
I'm just
absolutely
saying,
are there.
I saw them in there. I didn't plan to
Yeah.
use them. I'm just seeing them. that's
Yeah,
all.
I find them kind of annoying, those ridges. They're complicating things. But I mean, if you want to, you can totally put them in. It means you have to kind of get the angle line and perspective. So see how I'm starting to sketch out. Now I think I'm just doing a little bit more sketching to show you where things are. I feel like a lot of you really got the shape of this apple, which is a little bit more straight up on the one side and kind of curvy on this side. Right now you can start to do the sketching and the darks and lights, and I can see you all just cooking. So really where you guys are, and I want you to give yourself credit for this, is it's just the seeing and the measuring that's the tricky part. You all are really getting, I can see because I'm not hearing any questions. I know you all know what to do, right? The darks and the lights, which is what we've been working on with our photographs, is really what's working. I feel like that you understand, you're all in it now. I mean, let me know if you have questions with it, but notice that the ridge of the bowl, the top edge is light, right? Because it's facing the light. You got it. Yes. There's a tiny, and you can see that these little changes that we make I was looking at my front left apple and thinking it was not quite big enough. So I'm able to, without too much trouble, kind of expand it out a little bit. Notice there's a lovely little light edge, a kind of reflected edge right here on the bowl. That's kind of nice. Getting that in will really help. Fabulous work today, Osiris. Oh, you're not going yet. Okay. You're not leaving yet.
Not yet.
You're not leaving us yet.
I'm sorry, my husband's a musician and my Saturdays and Sundays are not, I don't have a normal lifestyle.
It looks like you're having a lot of fun with that new job.
Yeah, I am, and I'm writing, and it's just fun knowing fashion, and again,
Yeah.
being back into the fashion part of it. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's totally fun.
What are you
No.
doing, Osiris?
I'm writing for Zoe magazine. It's a magazine they wanted somebody to write the fashion column of the magazine, but it's a temporary situation because they don't know what direction they're taking the magazine, but it's been around for 20-something years.
So it's a print magazine?
It's a
Online,
publication
right?
online for like 20-something years. And they're in 257 countries, and they make money. They're advertising in their magazine like everybody else. So, but it's a platform, it's a Facebook platform for artists.
I really think this still life is cute. And now that I have the time to just look at it, it's cute, isn't it? I think it's really cute. Apples are cute. I'll be right back.
Written for magazines before, it's not a big challenge.
Well, that's good. So that's a real job. Is it a full-time job?
No, it's once a month, because that's when I do my show. They're combining it with my show. We're putting them like, I'll send them a short of my show and then write the piece
Okay.
for the column, for the fashion column part of it. But it's like a part-time job. It's nothing, which is why we're considering not doing it after 3 months. So it's something for a child, the kid. So they're running my piece until December, the
Okay.
end of the year. So just go zoemagazine.com.
ZOE.
ZOmagazine.com. It's like otherworld. It's like something you've never, it's really very out of world. It's nice. Yeah, it's weird, Diana. It's worse than Vogue, because Vogue doesn't pay their artists and their writers anything, nothing. And they own every single thing. I found out from the horse's mouth. So the thing about Zoe is they want to own all your content and all of that stuff. So that's not good. So like I said, it's temporary.
Yeah. Vogue pays their writers.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
That's not what they told me. That's what the writer told me. They don't get paid, that they get perks and stuff from working for Vogue, but they do not pay them.
All right. All right.
So Leah, do you get free coffee now?
Yes, so much. I get at least a bag of beans a week. I'm trying different ones each week. And then of course, as much coffee as I want. Like drinks as I want. Of course, what I find is I don't really want that much. But I did have this moment, like I said, after this absolutely disastrous day where I was just pounded and just screwing up everything, where all of a sudden it kind of clicked in. So I know for you guys, this is going to happen as well. You're going to click in. It's going to click when it clicks. And there's no way forward but to do it. I'm not going to say I'm an expert or anything, but I'm going to say, oh, okay, I think I can.
That's a great title for a record. It's gonna click when it clicks, when it clicks, and
When it clicks, when it clicks, when it clicks, when it clicks. And it'll click for you. I can tell by the questions that you're asking that you guys are closer to understand. This is the missing piece and you're understanding it. I love the intellectualism of this group because your questions are very specific. They're excellent. You guys might be feeling like, I don't know what's going on, but like what I can tell is that you're getting closer to getting it, and it's just going to happen. When it happens, it's going to happen. And yes, latte art is the fun part. You can see why people do hearts and leaves. That's the easiest thing to do. Really? Just kind of, right, because you're just kind of swooping. You're already swooping.
I kind of like it.
Good, Francesca. Good, 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 good. That looks fabulous. Okay, so now start to add in your darks. Great structure, Francesca.
Thanks.
Do you feel like I feel like you learned, I feel like something clicked for you in this class. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to understand better how to measure and how to like use the measurement to
help you
do the structure. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Feel less difficult.
Yeah, one fights it less, right? When you understand the point of it.
Yeah.
Yep, I get it. So you've got two things happening. As I'm looking at this apple, we have two things happening in the front. There's two things happening. One, of course, is that there is red streaked in with yellow. So there is a darker color and a lighter color. But there's another thing that's happening too. And that is, let me spend just a moment pointing it out to show you. This side is all darker than this side. And there's a little blick. Can you see it? A little blick, light blick on the top left. So when you're sketching in your darker red and your lighter yellow, observe that the darker red on the light side is a little bit lighter than the darker red on the dark side. Let me demonstrate that to show what I mean. And that your yellow on your light side is quite light, and that it's a little bit darker about here. I'm going to sketch it in and then I'll take a picture and send it over. Let your cast shadows also kind of define how dark or light things go. So it's a little bit get my cast shadow in there so I can really.
And don't forget, I was a writer for the Cover City newspaper for 2.5 years. You can go online and look for my stuff. So they didn't want to pay me, I quit.
Well, that sucks. They should pay you. All right, so I'm going to show you, this is my shading list a little awkward right now, but I think it still makes the point. As you start to add in sort of shaded areas and shady parts, you might want to switch over from an HB to a 2B. Give yourself a little bit darker. I think that's makes the point. Okay. I'm going to pop this up for a second so you see what I'm doing here. So can you all see that there is kind of a light and a dark light? And there is a light dark and a dark dark. That's what I really want you to get. And then, of course, there's this blick. Here, this like little light streak. I'm going to make that a little bit. There we go. I'll take a picture of this. Here, I'll remove it now and I'll take a picture so you guys can see it. That's kind of how the light patterning works. Listen to you all just drawing. Shading. We had a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old in China yesterday joining us
Oh,
for class,
cool.
and boy, were they hilarious. They were so cute. I was like, what's shading? And they were
What did
all
they
trying
do?
to explaining, huh?
What? That is so cute.
They are the children of one of the Beijing reporters.
Oh my gosh. I never
And
heard
they
that.
were really cute. And like I was like, so what is shading? And I'm trying to remember, they were hilarious. They were so cute. They were just completely charming. Shading is making
Leah, here in LA, I didn't know it, but I took it's called the Travel Town. It's in Griffith Park here. And it's a little train ride for the kids to go around where they have all the old train stations they used to have back from the day.
Mhm.
Beautiful, beautiful, colorful scenery and stuff for if you're interested in things like that.
Oh,
But they had
fabulous.
a little girl on there. What was her name? But she was sitting in front of us, and the whole time, every time the conductor and the guy said something, she drew it out and wrote the words and everything. So at the end of it, I was like, you are already an artist. You should just keep going. So her parents were saying they were. I mean, she was only 8 years old. And she had
Yeah.
a full ability to draw, write, connect the ideas and everything. It was amazing. I'm like, see?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Some people really, she's probably been doing it her whole life. Every day, like some people really have the desire and that helps so much. Nancy, this isn't bad. I like where your shading is starting to go. Don't forget this area. Oh, here, I'm going to point this out though. I feel like your mark making is kind of blocky though, and it's feeling, I want you to sort of smooth things out. Remember here it's light. And this apple is a little bit darker. Over here, you've got this, these hard edges here. And I want you to kind of like pay attention to the way the lines are actually going to help us curve around. So right now, do you see what I mean? It's kind of blocky. I want you to work more. I like what's happening up here in the bowl, but I want you to really work on kind of integrating your mark making so that it's a little softer and it looks a little bit less like it's been sprinkled throughout.
Okay.
There's a connection. Pay attention to your edges, where a light edge meets a darker one, right? Pay attention to those. Those are really, but you're getting there. I like it. So yes, I tortured you for an hour and a half, you guys for an hour and like 15 minutes, and now you can go. And this is what, and the amount of time and detail you put into your edges is what's going to make this feel like a flowing, beautiful, realistic drawing, right? And the more you pay attention to those light, medium, and dark edges, the more realistic it's going to be. The more detailed you're going to get. You guys have about like 40 minutes, by the way, so you got plenty of time. By the way, a couple of people know this from yesterday, but guess what? I am a grandma now.
Oh, wow.
You're a grandma?
Congratulations.
Oh my God.
I'm
Is
a
it a boy or a
grandma.
girl? What's
a
the name?
You're a grandma
girl.
on what side?
What's the
Your
name?
side, your husband's side?
My partner's side, his
Oh my-
daughter. Her name is Flora,
Ah,
and she is a spirited child. I'm so
I
fucking
bet.
excited. I can't
When,
even believe
which
it.
day was she born?
On
Yeah.
election day.
Oh,
she a Scorpio.
Mhm, right. She's a Scorpio. I'm in trouble.
She in
Her
trouble.
mom
keep you
is
guys in
trouble.
line.
I'll
Well, have
send you a
fun.
picture. Do you mind? Can I send you a picture?
Oh,
I
please
don't
do.
think I hold
Love
on, let me see
baby.
if I can
Oh, we
grab
love
her.
baby. Where
She's
are
the
they?
cutest. So, I mean, to be fair, this is not my child. I mean, it's my partner's child.
It's as close as you come to being
It's
a
as
grandma.
close as I come to being a grandparent, which feels like cheating to me, but there you go.
You didn't have to do the
I got
hard
to have the
part
fun,
this time
right?
around.
Totally. I got to do the fun part, but let's see. Let me get her. Here, where is she? Where are you, little darling? She is cute as heck.
Aw.
In
Does she have a
Sweden,
middle
we
name?
in Sweden, we
Oh,
call that a
no.
bonus grandma.
Aw.
Yes, yes.
A
And
bonus?
not only am I going to be, this kid has, because her mother remarried twice, this kid has so many grandparents that I've decided she can call me Booby. So I will be her Booby, which is the Jewish word, the Yiddish word for grandma, Booby. So I get to be a Booby. Oh,
My
no,
my
you know what?
son-in-law
I'm
is
not.
Wow.
yeah, because my son-in-law is Lithuanian Jewish, and there's Softa and Ofta, and he's Abba. He's
Abba.
Abba. Grandma is Softa. Grandpa is Afta.
He's probably
don't-
Saba. Abba means father.
Yeah, he's Abba. That's what he's
Abba.
like.
Okay, that's
And then
funny.
Softa and Afta is what the grandma and grandpa is. As far as that's what I mean, I don't know. That's what they told me. I do by what they said.
It's so great. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hold on.
You haven't already sent it out 200 times?
I don't know if I'm allowed to, so I'm just going to share it with you guys.
Why
and
do
then
you
maybe
mean?
pull it off. Well, it's not my photo, I mean, it's not.
That is a family photo.
It's a family photo.
Come
The
on.
cutest one, I can't seem to pull off the thread, so hold on, I'm just trying. Give me a sec, you know me, I'm terrible with. Here, hold on, where are you? Hmm. Okay. Let's see here. No, you're not gonna let me. The cutest one, I can't seem to send to myself. Trying to send it so I can pull it off. Nope. All right, I might just have to, here, pop it up for a second. I wonder if I can show it on the. Okay, take a little break, just a tiny little grandchild break. Let me see if I can show you.
Oh, wow.
Ah,
Tiny.
so nice.
And look at her, she's like so active.
Oh.
She's like, "Rah, I'm reaching. There's mama.
Hi, mama.
Hold on, I'll flip you back up here. Where are we? Yes, it's very exciting. We're all very excited. And then
Do
it
they have
wasn't,
any
you know,
other
it's-
children?
he
They have
does
other
not.
children?
Actually, that's not entirely true. He does, he and his baby mama have a, hold on, I'm trying to get two babies together. They, here, hold on. The first one they had in high school. And they gave that baby away for adoption. And they've never been able to track him down. Apparently nobody's been, I mean, this baby does not want to be found, right? He is like kind of living his best life somewhere else. And then they had Osa right after they graduated from college, which is why, you know, now their daughter is now 30. So yeah, there is
But you're
another
saying
kid.
you said this is the daughter of his son, or he doesn't have a son.
No, this is the daughter. This is
Of
his
his daughter.
daughter.
Okay,
This is the daughter of his daughter. Yeah.
okay.
He does have a son, but nobody knows where that son is because that son was.
Oh, right,
adopted.
right.
Yeah. So they did have two.
Can't believe this. I'm doing a cutesy painting. All cutesy.
Oh, you're a closet softie, Diana. I know you like your fancy paintings.
Cutesy.
Oh, nice, Osiris. Lovely coloring. I love this, Osiris. Beautiful. Beautiful color. Oh,
I'm still young, you're still here.
Sandra, how goes your doggy?
Terrible. I don't know how to go any further. I can't see the nose, I can't see the eyes.
Can you see the shadows that kind of shape those things?
So I made an eye and I think it looks terrible. I kind of cheated. And because I thought it required it, but it doesn't look, it looks weird. Look.
Well, yeah, it's probably, yeah. You mean the one on
That
the
eye
right side?
Really wrong.
Yeah. So really try to pay attention to the shadow shapes to let you shape that eye on the other side is probably coming out of the shadow more. And the shadow
Well,
the shadows need to shape the dog's face. Here, let's
Well,
see. Yeah, that's really what's happening. That shadow needs to be much more pronounced. You're ignoring it right now.
you mean which
And
one
that's-
around the eye, you mean?
I mean, the entire left side of the face above the
You mean that bit?
yes, that bit. Exactly. Thank you. That has to really match what's happening.
Except
You
if I
can't-
make it completely dark, then we won't see the
Well,
eye.
it's not completely dark. Look at the nuances. Look at the nuances of
I mean,
that.
I've got it dark as well.
Look at the nuances of dark and medium dark and slightly light happening. Stop attaching to the eye and start looking at that whole shape, that whole shadow shape in relation to the shadow, the light side on the other side of the dog. The problem is you're not really thinking like that. You're not thinking darks
No,
and
no, I've got
lights,
the shape
shadows.
of I've got the
But-
shape of a shadow, and I thought that I.
The values are
shaded it.
not there, though. The values are not there. That's
You
what
mean
I'm
I
saying.
need to go darker still?
Darker. Yeah, yeah. That's what's happening.
Okay, I
And
think.
look at how the eye
maybe-
emerges from the, look at how, what parts of the eye emerge from the shadow. How does that shadow
Virtually
side
nothing.
compare to the light side?
I think I have the layout of my painting, but that's all I have.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's just the
Very cute.
layouts, but
Oh, I like it, Diana.
It really is cute, isn't it?
Kitty in the flower pot.
I was actually thinking, Sandra, that we might do that one next in Friday's class, because it's so cute. It's cute. And it's a scene. It's a scene.
Yeah, it's more my kind of scene, I suppose.
Yeah,
Although I thought everybody did pretty well with the cityscape scene yesterday. I thought they did great, actually.
Guess we'll have a better idea next week.
I mean, I can already tell. I mean,
Well-
finished product.
Well, but let's see
like-
how it pans out. This was just the end of painting, right?
Yeah, but it does look, they already look good. I don't know.
I agree.
Sometimes
but
you just
don't
know.
You don't know how it's gonna go after that.
Ah,
where
I
is your,
do.
where is your Sandra?
This, I'm doing this and I'm lost.
You do.
She's fighting the, oh, there you go.
Let me
He's coming.
put her in speaker view so I can
Oh,
see.
but it looks better on camera than it does in person. It just doesn't work. I can't see anything. It's just too many shadows. The eye is wrong. I can't see the eye. You see, I can't see the eye. So I made that eye and now it looks like it's popping out of his socket.
Right, because
Yeah,
it's in the
it's
dark.
can't see
you
where the
need to
nose
make it
holes are.
darker.
Yeah, I think you have to darken the left eyes. I put the left side in shadow.
That's what I
That one?
Oh,
said.
not that side.
The
that
lect
side.
side, the left
Yeah,
side.
that side.
You mean to
That's-
the point where we don't see the eye anymore?
That's
Yeah.
what I just said.
No, you didn't. Sorry, I didn't understand that. I thought you were talking about a shadow around the eye.
No, I was saying that entire left side, that entire
Yeah.
shape needs to be in shadow.
Yeah.
And that's the comparison between the left side. Sorry, that is.
So
what
we
I was
don't see
saying.
the eye, but I thought you told me to cheat and do some details on the eye.
I
No,
didn't
on the
tell you
other
to
eye.
cheat. I didn't tell you to cheat. I told you to look at what details come out, and I told you
Oh,
to
yesterday,
freeze-
you very much told me to cheat. You told me to do details on the eye.
Sandra,
But
I think
but
we're
it's
having a
okay,
little
especially-
misunderstanding. I think we're having
no,
a
no,
bit of a
we've done that before. You put
miscommunication.
details that you don't see because otherwise it just looks so bad.
No, you
I thought-
need that to be
No.
shaded.
That's
need
not.
that privacy.
I
Okay,
think
I'm
you're
erasing the eye.
right, erase the eye.
I
Number one, I was
misunderstood you.
talking about the eye on the right side that's in the light.
Oh.
And number two, I've been saying all along, please pay attention to the bigger shadows that hit a whole side. Everybody's dealing with this same thing with this apple right now. The apple here in the front has a light side and a dark side, and that impacts, and you have to kind of push the dark sides.
Hey, Sunny. Hey, Sunny.
What I did say yesterday, Sandra, is you know very well how the eyes work. So if you're struggling to see a detail because it's too fuzzy, then like you can add some of that detail that you know is in, but you still have to respect the light and dark side, right? And what's happening with the light and dark side. I, by the way, think the shapes are fabulous, and I totally think that dog is coming around. I think you're having the problem that always kind of happens that you bump up against in your drawings all the time, where you want to describe everything. When I say
Well,
describe, I
think
mean, you want to
because-
detail everything equally, and that's just not, that doesn't always help
Particularly
the
the
drawing.
eyes.
Yeah.
Particularly the eyes. I
Yeah.
do get bothered because I do like a certain amount of details, and I
Yeah.
get bothered because this is a very
Fuzzy,
bad quality picture.
right, right. So when I said cheat, I meant you put in the details in the area where we can see the eye, but you still need to pay attention to that dark light divide, the dark side, the light side, and you need to treat them differently. Yeah, I think it's bothering you that you can't see the eye on the dark side, and you
I
want
can't
to.
even see where the nose holes are.
Right,
That bothers me too.
right.
And therefore,
But if you
Isn't
can
it
move
read?
into more of a dark, it will read, but it needs to be a little bit, looser. You need to be a little bit looser on the side that's darker. And you need to pay more attention to the edge where the dark shadow side kind of meets the light side. That's really where the detail comes in. That's
think of-
really where it is, but I get it. It's,
yeah, it's difficult for me. I'm not sure, but I've now made that part completely black. But I'm not sure it's an improvement.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's not exactly what I said. I didn't say, I want you to look at the shadow area. There's a lighter part of the shadow area.
There's a part that's
darker
all
part
black,
of
and
the
I
shadow
cannot
area.
tell where the eye begins or ends.
Right, so look
cannot
at
tell.
the darks and the lights of the shadow area. Don't just make everything dark or everything light. There is a dark and a light. If you look at this apple right now, if you look at this apple right
An
now,
apple.
well, stop and listen. There's a point being made here. If you look at this apple, this light part of this apple is lighter than the darker part of the light apple, right? Because this is in light and this is in shadow. So this is like a 1. This part is like a 2. Okay, but that doesn't mean there isn't a difference between the 2 and the 3 here on top, this red part, which is darker. So there are nuances in the shadow part, and you got to see those. That's what I'm saying. But it's okay. You're learning, and it's gonna click for you the way it clicks for you.
I don't know. I
But what
don't
I'm
like bad
saying
pictures.
is you're fighting, one of the things that you're fighting is your idea of what you think should happen versus what's actually happening.
I just don't. I think it's difficult to do a detailed portrait out of a photo that is not detailed. I think it's not. I'm not a magician.
No, but you just you just reflect the shadows. So, part of an animal can be in shade and you don't see the details.
And it still reflects and it's still
Yeah.
possible to
Yeah.
describe the animal very well.
If the whole animal is in shade, then
You have a problem. But the light dark areas, these bigger dark shapes do help us. The darks help us define the lights. And the less described areas, because they're somehow in shadow, help us define the detail, as opposed to drawing something with equal detail everywhere. You'll get there. You'll get there. You really got it on things like your seal, but you'll get there when you get there.
Well, the seal, yeah, no problem is the photo for me.
It's
didn't
it's
have a
not
problem with
doing what
seal.
you want it. It's not doing what you want it to do.
No, it's just
but
like, I think, I don't know. I feel a bit lost with it.
You'll figure it out. You
You'll
will
figure it
get
out.
there.
It
Yeah.
still looks pretty amazing.
Well, I'll proceed because it still looks like a dog, but we'll see.
Yeah,
If I
See
have to
how
start
far
over,
you
I'll
get.
start over. If I have to do
exactly.
another photo, I'll do another photo.
Exactly.
uh,
Take it to its
I have-
conclusion.
I have 4 or 5 bad photos, so I can always try another bad photo.
Sandra,
Unfortunately,
if you want to, you can, if you end up, take this drawing to its conclusion, whatever that is, and learn the lessons from it. And then if you want, send over the other photos you've got, and I'll tell you the one I think the easiest to do.
So, yeah. they're all
Nancy, that's
terrible.
starting to look very nice.
I just need help. I don't know how to choose my pencils and I don't,
What do you mean you don't know how to choose your pencils?
well, like the top apple is very dark.
Sure.
And I'm trying to get different gradients and I'm just finding, I guess I'm finding that hard. Maybe it's not a pencil.
Try, it's not a pencil. You're just you're having a hard time seeing it. I can show you the darkest areas. It's darkest here. And it's darker down here because that's away from the light.
Mhm.
Here
Okay.
and here. So that's part of it. Squint. Part of the problem you're having, and this is harder, but this is why I'm training you, is and also the blicks are really helping to find the dark parts next to them. See the little blicks that are all the way around, those little white spots, those reflected lights. So work with those, because working around those, making those blicks evident means you've got to darken around the edge of the blicks. But really, what's really happening is the light's hitting here. Here is where the edge of the apple is before it turns inward. And then so the blicks are all here. And then as it turns in, it gets darker. As it goes towards the sort of center, it gets darker. It moves farther away from the light. So this is one of the darkest parts. And then down here as well. You can also, Nancy, use your background to help define. That background is darker, right, than the apples. So use a real, maybe a 2B or a 4B pencil and darken around the edge of the apple to help pull it forward. Use your shadows. Do you have shadows in there? These are the deep, this is sort of the, Francesca, that's looking great. Just keep going.
Thank you. I actually have to go because I have friends for dinner, so I
Okay.
have to cook.
All right.
So see
what
you
are you
next
gonna
week.
cook? What are you going to cook?
I will cook something that is typical from the city I was born. It's called gnocco fritto.
Oh
Oh,
my
wow.
God.
Do you know it?
We know, I know
Fantastic.
gnocchi.
No, it's not pasta. It's like you do a dough, like for doing pizza,
Right.
and then
Fabulous.
you cut it in small pieces and you deep fry them, and they balloon, and
Uh-huh.
it's like you're like frying little pieces of pizza dough.
Can
Like
you
little
take a
dough
picture?
balls.
Can you take a picture of this and send it to us?
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
finish
So when
it.
it's done, yeah, sure. Okay.
And then
Sandra,
how do you
thank you
eat
for
them?
asking that question.
And
That's
you eat them
fabulous.
with it's like you eat them with cheese, salami, ham,
Oh my
So
and
they're
God, that
deep
sounds
fried little dough
incredible.
balls.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds very nice.
and
Yes, we want to
it's
see a
not,
photo, please.
Please.
it's not something good for like your
For
liver.
slimming.
Yeah,
Oh.
but it's once in a while
It's good for your
nice.
soul.
Yeah. So I will send a picture. And
Thank you.
have fun. Thanks a lot, and see you next week.
Great
Bye.
work
Have a-
and
Hey.
great
have a
work
lot of
today.
fun.
Bye.
Fabulous
Bye.
day.
dinner.
Bye.
Oh, Sandra, thank you for asking that question. That's like,
I'm
I-
always
if
interested
anybody
when
else
people say
cooks-
things like that.
if anybody else is cooking anything interesting, please send it across the thread. We'll totally
I-
take it.
I always need inspiration. for cooking.
I'm going to make a split pea soup today because it's cold.
Oh, nice. It's cold for you as well?
It's
Yeah.
freezing.
Really?
I
For
had to
us,
go
it's
in
starting
and add-
tomorrow.
I had to go in and
And-
add more layers because it's cold in the studio.
And Leah, so your heat pump is keeping you warm?
It is in the house, but I'm in the studio most of the time. The heat
Oh.
pump doesn't reach the studio, sadly. Sadly.
Leah,
So
how much are you working at Starbucks?
about 20 hours a week.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I still have plenty of time to paint and teach. And in fact, soon you guys, I'm going to send a student survey across. I'm trying to figure out how to like restructure my classes next year. I feel like everybody's pretty happy with this time frame, for example, but
Yeah.
If you would take a moment to kind of fill it out when I get it out there, it'll help me figure out how to sort of offer classes at the best times and the best classes and all of that stuff. That'll be coming soon.
It feels almost like summer today here.
Really, it is
Yeah, this is-
like cold,
it's like
snappy.
in 70s, and then tomorrow it's going to be like from
think I
tomorrow. That's it.
So have I missed my last chance to put in bulbs if it's too cold, snappy?
Yeah, ideally, they say you should put in before. Actually, I'm late myself. They say you should put it a couple of weeks before the ground freezes.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you, I bought because I love pansies, but in the summer they die because it's too hot. But they're very good value because I plant them September, October, and they last until May. And I bought some bulbs as well, but bulbs are back-breaking to plant, and
Yeah.
my
And
earth
don't
is-
they kind of duplicate on their own if you get them in?
I think once you plant them, they come back every year, which is so it's worth the
And they
effort.
kind of multiply, right?
They
Like,
do
'cause
sometimes.
they-
Some of them do, and the thing is, but my ground is hard. It's like clay type, so it's very difficult to make a deep hole. And it's like, oh, I think the squirrel's gonna steal most of them, but still. I used to think if you didn't plant them this year, you could plant them next year, but there's a year and I planted some, they didn't come out, and I think it's
No,
because
they don't come out, they die.
They're
They
finicky.
shrink. They dry out if they're not in the ground.
So that's why I wanted to plant them, but I almost cursed myself from having bought any, because then I felt obliged to doing it.
like all other things.
And
You
by
do
the
not
time
do
I
it by
planted
halves.
the pansies, I was exhausted and I didn't feel like doing the bulbs. But anyway, I'm all done now.
Get it. Right, I'm gonna.
For
move
you.
them. Good for you. Well, I know your garden is beautiful also, so Regardless of how many bulbs you get in, it's going to be spectacular. One day I want to see it.
In person, yes.
Yes. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, guys. I moved my
That's okay.
computer and didn't even think about what that was doing to your still life. Sorry. I was moving it over because the plug isn't working here, but let me see if I can. Finicky. MacGyver it. Work a little better. Yes, and anybody, Sandra, anybody that you know in Asia, please let them know these classes are coming.
I've been telling them that.
You know, it's funny. People are like, okay, this is good, Marcy, keep pushing your darks.
One
Love
of
it.
them said the weekend was bad, but then I pointed out the weekday would probably be worse because then
You
you're
always-
working.
Right. They're
So-
always like the weekend is whatever I do. Rashmi was like, if you do classes on 9:30 a.m. on Saturday for India, people will come and
they
nobody's
didn't.
coming. I'm like, including Rashmi, I'm like, come on. I did this for you.
And what is her excuse then?
She doesn't have one.
Huh. That's
She
not
has
good.
no, she does not have one. Rashmi, if you're hearing this now, we love you, but you don't have any excuse on this one. I know. I was just like, not one India person has come.
And the time is actually probably best for them, actually.
It's
yeah,
this is why I did it at that time, because it is best for them. So, you know, it's funny. Like I have a feeling we'll push more people will come in the winter. That's
Winter.
usually what happens. I want to, oh, there you go, Bettina. That's coming along nicely. Nice.
I
Nice,
haven't
nice.
really started on the kitty yet. I'm just,
Bettina, I know this looks like, do a little, make this area a little bit lighter.
Which area?
I'm
Just
pointing to it.
so that there's like a 1, 2, 3 step.
Yep. This is 1, this is 2, this is like 2.5. This should be lighter than this. It's slight, but it's there. You really see it. When you really see it, you'll see it.
Can I make the middle darker?
You can. But you should also make sure not to get too dark because this is lighter than that. It's all a
Okay.
balance. All right, we've got 5 more minutes.
yeah, I'm kind of running out of paint, so I'm gonna send where
Oh,
I'm.
what a disaster. I'm going to send you this dog.
Nancy, wonderful. Do you see how that background really helped? And then your strong contour line around the, so getting the background in and then you did a strong contour line like around here. And do you see how both those things really helped?
Yeah,
Kind of push the thing forward. You're really exploring with the mark making. And I also like how you've got your shading. This is great, you guys. Did you ever imagine that you could do any of this?
no,
Honestly. So Nancy, the last thing I want you to do
Yeah.
is erase this dark shadow here because it's quite light here. Remember,
oh, right.
it's coming in here. Don't forget that.
Sorry, that's supposed to be that little darkened edge of the apple.
But there is also a light edge here
So what am I
in the
not?
bowl. You're missing the shape of the light edge of the bowl. There is a top edge and then there's a side that goes down. There's a light edge. You've drawn it as if there's just one shape, but there's this light edge here and then a shape that kind of goes down that's also light here. Oh, Diana, so dang cute.
Yeah, I haven't worked on the kitty yet, but
Mm,
trying to get all things in place.
right. I'm looking, can you send me oh, and by the way, there's printmaking tomorrow. Oh, no, sorry, there's caricature drawing tomorrow for whoever wants to. And then on Sunday in my class, we're going to be starting to paint a Irish road scene.
Look how
So-
much better that is.
That looks fantastic, Sandra.
Oh.
Look how much better that is.
Yeah, you've nailed, I mean, yep,
And a puppy.
you have not lost this is not lost.
No,
Okay.
This is not lost.
Beautiful.
And I think you're learning something. The fights that you're having right now, you're gonna win it. You're gonna learn something. This is gonna teach you something. It's fabulous.
this will teach you, Sandra.
And it's actually, Sandra, might be one of my favorites because
Well-
the emotion that's in here of this dog is really strongly conveyed. The emotional content. It's right there. I just
Beautiful.
I just feel like, oh, when I look at him. Oh, and he's
This was a-
helping you. He's helping you.
Yes. You know, this is a dog. Can you stop recording perhaps?
Mm.
When you stop recording, I'll tell you.
Okay.